Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Virtual Investor. It's conversations with Paul and Mike, and we're going to get into some high-level topics here about what's working for us, how we're finding our deals right now, and resources we're using. We're going to get in kind of high-level detail. So start off, Mike, how you're finding wholesalers. Give us kind of the long and short of it, how you're finding wholesalers right now in this market.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. It's the simplest thing, just different ways. You could be proactive, and that's what I'm doing, or you could kind of post ads as another way. So one example is just by posting ads on like a Facebook marketplace, like a real estate investor forum, like a Bigger Pockets, or even Craigslist. You kind of say like, hey, use a simple title like wholesalers, I'm looking to buy more properties, and give them some information. You and I actually recorded a video directly for wholesalers on like, what's our criteria? And I copy and paste it, and I'm looking for wholesalers in different markets. Just as an example, this week, just on Bigger Pockets, I posted a few for wholesalers in PA, Carolinas, and Southwest Florida. And I have some calls lined up this week just from different wholesalers, just to get to know them and better understand our criteria. And the one guy just didn't even call me. He just started sending me deals directly because I said to do that as well, to add me to your list. So those are some ways to just post ads, and folks will come to you. A proactive approach would be, I have my virtual assistant do this. I basically tell her which Google keywords to use, like, wholesale properties, we sell, sell house fast, city and state. And I do that in several markets. And I'll break it up if it's a big state where here's all of the eastern part of this state, and then next week we'll do the western part of this state. That way I don't get bombarded with emails and potential calls. And I have her, reach out to them. If there's an email, she'll, email and copy me on the response. Or some people have a web form, and you just, put in web information and ask to join that way as well. So those are some different tactics that I use recently just to start building relationships with wholesalers, especially if you don't want to do it in your local market, right? I'm not going to go to all these meetup groups in different states and different cities when I can easily do this from the seat of my own home and comfort of my own home.
Yeah, that's the key right there. Yeah, I've been doing some of those same things here, trying to find different wholesalers in the Florida market, as you know. And, Facebook Marketplace is a great way. You can look and target certain areas if you want. It seems like in Florida, the biggest markets are obviously Tampa and Orlando and Jacksonville for the most part. Then you have South Florida, which is Miami. There seems to be that little gap in between of the area I'm looking for, which is that Cape Coral, Naples area, the Southwest Florida, Sarasota. So that's an area I'm trying to find and add more guys. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive. Another thing I just thought about, like, this is stupid of me not to have thought about it before, but with all the Facebook friends we have that are connected to us, it's almost like we just create a short little video, put it on my Facebook page.
Yeah. Might
get blown up, but for people that are, especially because we're going to target these newer investors, and a lot of the newer investors, the ones that are connecting with us, and they might bring us some pretty good deals. So there's so many different ways to do it with these wholesalers, and just opportunities out the wazoo. And it's weeding out the good ones from the bad ones, right? We've gotten good ones, we've gotten bad ones, but it seems like the best deals we get are probably from newer wholesalers.
Yeah, because they don't have the robust list some experience has. And so they're actually we'll get cherry picked deals from them because they're sending us their deals sometimes potentially first, just because they don't have that robust buyers list yet. And then I use it as a training opportunity. I just don't say no. I kind of say, a good example this week, someone sent me a property. They're like ARV 220. I would agree with that number if the property was 1,500 square feet, but our property was about 1,000 square feet, and ARVs are around like 185. And I kind of explained to them why, to kind of gear their numbers to the way I would evaluate it and make a realistic offer on it, just to almost like train them that way. They bring me better deals, and I'm not wasting time like quickly saying no 10 times before I actually sit down and analyze one where it could be a potential deal.
Yeah, now they appreciate that too, because you're letting them know exactly what you want. I mean, that's a big thing there. It's super important.
Yep.
Yeah, and some of these national wholesalers, you and I are both connected to one of these groups that is national wholesalers at Northwest. I can't remember the name of the company, but it seems like their deals are like retail deals. They're not even anything special.
Well, the one that you signed up for recently, I believe, it's okay, let me get a house that's already listed on the MLS under contract. And then so if that property was listed for 200, they'll get under contract for whatever, and they're remarketing for like 199.
Yeah, exactly.
On the MLS at 2, and if no one bought it yet, it's not a deal in this market. So
right.
that approach really doesn't make sense.
I agree. That definitely doesn't make sense. They sell some of them. They're going to sell some of the guys who are buy and hold, because buy and hold maybe can afford to do that. And those guys aren't necessarily looking on the MLS like that, but it is totally different. Now we'll jump into and pivot here the other way we pick up different deals, which is REO agents. And this has been a big source for us over the years. And as Mike will tell you, we've dealt with probably the same REO agents in PA over the past 10 years or so, over and over and over again. And if you make connections with these guys, one, they'll let you know when something's coming up that's pretty decent or worthwhile to bid on if it's going on auction. And they'll tell you the ones that are a complete waste of your time. So that's a huge time saver there for you. But they also know the market really well and know contractors in those different markets. And we use them to fix and flip, right? Tucson, Casper, Wyoming, and the Carolinas, we're using people, and not just REO agents. So we can even make this twofold, right? Because we're finding different agents that are really good, like in Winter Haven, Florida, and that deal that we're doing, right? And this guy's a great investor-friendly agent.
And he's not
talk about him a little bit
at all. He's just a solid agent that we found calling around. Again, this is a deal from a wholesaler that you just alluded to, the one in Florida, and we knew there's 3 ways to make money on it, but we were confident in our numbers. Like, let's verify it. So I called around different agents. The first guy called, he actually visited the property but wasn't responsive. So I moved on. I found another agent, and this guy's an all-star that we're dealing with now. And we actually have the property listed with him right now. And it's just going to be a great future source in this central part of Florida for us, which is probably like an hour from Tampa. That kind of like what you're talking to earlier, you don't have wholesalers outside of these major cities to bring you deals, but now we have a stud local agent that knows the market in and out and probably knows everybody in town.
Right.
Like, he sees that we're a repeat buyer and legit now. We're going to get deals, like you said, similar to what the REO agent does for you in certain different markets, in these tertiary markets now as well.
Yeah, and that's, you think about that. So we got a deal from a wholesaler who we have a relationship with. We now created a relationship with this agent who will hopefully bring us more deals. So we have potential 2 more sources of deals right there, and they're free. They don't cost us anything. We're not picking up the phone, bugging people for them. They're picking up the phone, contacting us for them. So that's, that just goes to show that this model is just a great model. And it's, do it from the comfort of your own home. It's the true virtual investing lifestyle, no doubt about it. But these agents, and they'll just keep bringing deals. Like the guy in Tucson, every quarter he seems to bring me something, whether it's a fix and flip or a wholesale. I'm doing a wholesale with them right now. They just keep going over and over again. So these relationships are huge between wholesalers, between REO agents. It's not just going on auctions and bidding on these things, which is one great source. Is getting these, which will be hopefully repeat sources for us, right? And they'll bring us deals, and they're not necessarily all going to be REO deals. So we might get some deals from them where we can assign a contract potentially too, or we just, right? So that's another option for us, or we just take it down and wholesale it. And that's what we're looking for in this market. We want to keep wholetailing as much as we can and take advantage of rates the way they are, the prices the way they are, and the amount of buyers out there.
Yeah, you're basically maximizing your profits on every deal by going down that approach.
Yeah. And we look at everything, right? Wholesale first, wholesale second, full scale rehab third. And if it's in a market we don't have boots on the ground and are comfortable with, we're not going to probably do that. We're probably just going to wholesale it and just get it as decent as possible. And I think the only thing I'm really doing a full scale rehab on is that multi-unit property in Casper, Wyoming right now. And that's, luckily I have boots on the ground for it who's assisting with it, but we're getting to the end of that project, which is great because now we're getting into the fall season here soon.
That's a huge rehab. It's a 12-unit building, so
yeah, huge, and it needed everything: windows, doors, plumbing, electrical, new siding, new kitchens, new bathrooms, new flooring, new appliances, new everything. So yeah, it's been a long project, but I expect it to be a long project. It's a big building, and we just put new sod in, sprinkler systems. I just signed a contract with a guy who's now going to be doing snow removal for it. He's going to be doing the lawn maintenance for it, the tree trimming, the shrub, all that kind of stuff, which is great. So locking everything into place on that. And that's all because of an REO agent connection that we made out there in Wyoming. help this with the fix and flip. I made no money on the fix and flip, but we'll do good with this. And there's other potential things that we're looking for from him too. And I think Mike knows about this. We might do a joint venture here with like a self-storage facility out there.
Yep.
Because I think there's a couple still for sale, and I want to really do a deeper dive into them coming up here. I'm selling a couple things, and maybe we jump into that market as well.
Yeah, we've been talking that for a while and looking out there. So excited about that opportunity.
Yeah, it'll be a leap of faith. It'll be a different type of thing, but I know those things print money.
Yeah.
So if we get it for the right price, get the right financing, I think it'd be super worthwhile for us to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. That's why it's so important to make these connections between the wholesalers and the agent and REO agents and keep up with it. And, as we tell our students all the time, when they're bidding on these ones at auction, the first thing they should do is contact the agent. And so often they don't. Bugging them to, and they finally do later, and you get great info from them.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things.
And by getting it up front, you could have saved yourself hours too, not wasted your time on that property. Like, oh, my analysis was off a little bit because this is a city and the values drastically change block by block or whatever the reason is. So again, don't be scared to pick up the phone. This is a relationship business. And, they'll pay dividends later down the road by having those relationships.
Absolutely.
And you got to make aware of the local agents that you build relationships with. Like, here are my goals. This is what I'm looking for. I don't want this to be a one and done relationship. That way they know that you're hungry and looking for more, and that's more money for them as well.
And they love it because they're not just, they're used to deal with one and done buyers for the most part. So if they're getting somebody who's going to be buying maybe once a quarter, multiple times a year, they're going to be taking extra good care of you. And when something comes up, that's one of those deals that could potentially be one, we'll be the first ones to get a phone call from it.
Yep.
Great. So that's our tip for this week here. 2 tips really.
Yeah.
What to look for: wholesalers and agents, and keep working at it, keep building relationships, and going to REIA clubs is always a good idea too, locally still in your market, just to make relationships, because you never know when some of these relationships turn into private money too, right? Actually, let's kick on that real quick for a couple of minutes.
Sure.
We've raised a lot of private money, right, from different people, different resources, and it's all relationship driven too. But I think we met some of them at DIG meetings.
Correct.
Right. And then other ones are through business contacts.
Yeah. So DIG is just a local investor group that me and Paul have been a part of for a while. And it's like you said, it's all about relationships. Private lending, you're not going to, go up cold. Now you might go on stage at a REIA group and you have like a pitch session where you can do that, and you could develop relationships in the back room afterwards on that, because it's going to be all asset-based driven. And, there's a lot of money on the sidelines looking for deals right now. But I mean, with some of our private lenders, it was friends of friends, just having conversations, talking about what we do. And that's essentially how we've raised a lot of our private lending, just from, telling people what we do. And when the opportunities arise, someone, might have sold something else and they have a lot of cash on the sideline. I don't want to earn 0%. Give Mike and Paul a call. And that's kind of essentially, how we've been gobbling up, the private lenders over the years.
Yeah, it's been a great way to do it. And it's always nice. You can never have too much money. Never have too much money. I mean, if you have too much money, then you should be trying to find more deals and different ways to be able to utilize that.
Yep.
Right. And be able to
and that means going back to the original point, picking up the phone, calling wholesalers, calling agents. That way you have the ample deal flow and ample, call it dry powder or private money on the sidelines to fund those deals. Yeah,
no, it's crazy. And there are deals, MLS, you've been talking about this the past couple of weeks with students. There's deals out there on the MLS. And I'll give you an example. I'm going to look at one right now, actually, and it looks like it'll rent for $1,600 a month. It's a condo, and it's listed for $139,900. It happens to be a bank REO, and it's a bank REO agent I met online and made connection with here to go take a look at it. And it should, if the numbers are all right, it should cash flow and bring in around $750 a month. Now I want to check and see if it could be an Airbnb potential too. That's one thing I want to look at here. But again, same thing, relationship driven. There's deals on the MLS, a lot of REOs on the MLS that are not on the auctions that we bid on. So keep plugging away. Any last words of advice for anybody, Mike?
No, I mean, I think we covered the points. It's just, got to make relationships, and there's easy ways where you're not driving around hanging bandit signs and mailing tens of thousands of dollars of postcards a month or whatever else, paperclip, on ways to find deals in real estate. And these are pretty easy ways to do it. Just a few phone calls during the week.
Yep, few phone calls during a week and save that money for marketing for your deposits on the properties, right? It's always a better way to go.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, thanks again. We'll catch up with you next week here for our next meeting.
All right. See you, everyone.
See ya.